What is going on, Pretender here, back with another Honkai style guide, and today I'm here with the full in-game guide for Aglaea. So in this video I'm going to be taking you over all about her kit, so including her kit, also the memo sprite details, and also Eidolons. Then I'll be taking you over her best lightcone options, followed by that will be best relic sets and Planar ornaments, and then finally the stats for them, and at the very end will be some team recommendations. That's all I want to say. Before I get into the video, if you guys found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, drop a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this along with all other types of Star Wars content. If you know anyone that may need an Aglaea guide, please make sure to send them this video as it may help them. Check the description to join the Discord and also my second channel, and let's get straight into the video. So Aglaea is a lightning character following the path of remembrance. Her basic attack deals lightning damage equal to 100% of Aglaea's attack to one designated enemy. Her skill restores HP to Garmentmaker by 50% of its max HP. If Garmentmaker is absent, then summons the memo sprite Garmentmaker and makes this unit immediately take action. Her ultimate summons the memo sprite Garmentmaker. If Garmentmaker is already on the field, then restores its HP to max. Aglaea enters the Supreme Stance state and immediately takes action. While in Supreme Stance, Aglaea gains the speed boost stacks from Garmentmaker's memo sprite talent. With each stack increasing this unit's speed by 15%, enhances basic attack to slash by 1000-fold kiss, and cannot use skill. Garmentmaker is immune to crowd control debuffs. A countdown appears on the action order bar with its own speed set at 100. While the countdown exists, using ultimate again will reset the countdown. When the countdown turn starts, Garmentmaker self-destructs. When Garmentmaker disappears, Aglaea dispels the Supreme Stance state. And as it does say, the ultimate will enhance the basic attack, giving you enhanced basic attack now. And what that does is Aglaea and Garmentmaker launch a joint attack on the target, respectively dealing lightning damage equal to 200% of Aglaea's attack and 200% of Garmentmaker's attack to the target. Also, respectively deals lightning damage equal to 90% of Aglaea's attack and 90% of Garmentmaker's attack to adjacent targets. Slash by 1000-fold kiss cannot recover skill points. For talent, the memo sprite Garmentmaker has an initial speed equal to 35% of Aglaea's speed and a max HP of 66% of Aglaea's max HP plus 720. While Garmentmaker is on the field, Aglaea's attacks inflict the target with Seam Stitch state. After attacking enemies in the Seam Stitch state, further deals lightning additional damage equal to 30% of Aglaea's attack. Seam Stitch only takes effect on the most recent target. The technique summons the memo sprite Garmentmaker and launches a forward joint attack. After entering battle, regenerates 30 energy and deals lightning damage equal to 100% of Aglaea's attack to all enemies, then randomly inflicts Seam Stitch state on a random enemy target. For the memo sprite skill and talent, first starting it off with the skill, deals lightning damage equal to 110% of attack to one enemy and lightning damage equal to 66% of attack to adjacent targets. And then the talent, after attacking an enemy inflicted with Seam Stitch, increases this unit's speed by 55, stacking up to 6 times. When Garmentmaker takes action, automatically use Thorn Snare, prioritizing enemies under the Seam state. For the bonus traces, A2, while in Supreme Stance, increases Aglaea's and Garmentmaker's attack by an amount equal to 720% of Aglaea's speed plus 360% of Garmentmaker's speed. For A4, when Garmentmaker disappears, up to one stack of the speed boost from the memo sprite can be retained. When Garmentmaker is summoned again, gains the corresponding number of speed boost stacks. Enter A6, at the start of the battle, if this unit's energy is lower than 50%, regenerates this unit's energy to 50%. Finally, take a look at her Eidolons. For E1, the enemy afflicted with Seam Stitch takes 15% increased damage. After Aglaea or Garmentmaker attacks this target, additionally regenerates 20 energy. For E2, when Aglaea or Garmentmaker takes action, enables the damage dealt by Aglaea and the Garmentmaker to ignore 14% of the target's defense. This effect stacks up to 3 times and lasts until any unit other than Aglaea or Garmentmaker actively use the ability. For E4, the speed boost effect from the memo sprite talent has its max stack limits increased by 1. After Aglaea uses an attack, can also make Garmentmaker gain the speed boost effect from the memo sprite talent. Enter E6, while Aglaea is in the Supreme Stance state, increases her and Garmentmaker's lightning respan by 20%. When Aglaea's or Garmentmaker's speed is greater than 160/240/320, the joint attack damage dealt by them increases by 10%/30%/60%. Taking a look at the best lightcone options for Aglaea, as there are really not too many remembrance options. Unfortunately, you're not working with too many options, but the best one is obviously going to be her own signature lightcone, which provides a 12 increase to base speed. After the wearer and the memo sprite attacks, the wearer gains a stack of brocade. Each stack of brocade increases the wearer and their memo sprite's crit damage by 9%, stacking up to 6 times. When reaching maximum stacks, each brocade stack additionally increases basic attack damage dealt by 9%. So this lightcone is super useful, as it provides you a 12 increase to speed, which is a very nice speed increase, and it's going to definitely help you hit very high speed thresholds. When you are building a fast Aglaea, unfortunately you do have to sacrifice stuff like crit damage, and having this lightcone will help you a lot with that, as you can get up to 54% crit damage, which is super strong, and easily makes up for the lack of crit damage rolls you may have. And on top of that, once you do have the max stacks, you on top of that gain a 56% damage dealt to basic attack, which is her main source of damage. Once she's in her ult, you have the enhanced basic attack, and the main source of damage she will do is her enhanced basic attack. So the speed helping you hit very high thresholds is going to be super important. The crit damage buff is very good, and then getting the basic attack damage dealt on top of that is super broken, and overall making this Lightcone her best bar and none Lightcone option. Past the signature one, the 3-star Reminiscence Lightcone is also a pretty good option. When the Memo Sprite's turn starts, the wearer and the Memo Sprite each gain a stack of commemoration. Each stack increases damage dealt by 8%, stacking up to 4 times, and if the Memo Sprite disappears, the commemoration stack will be removed. And then at S5, it gives you a 12% stacking up to 4 times, so giving you up to a 48% damage dealt, which is easy to stack up and then also very easy to keep as long as you don't let the Memo Sprite disappear. And since it's a 3-star Lightcone, you just have to summon, and a lot of you probably already had this S5 by now, even though her banner did just come out, as it was added when 3.0 did come out. So if you do not have her signature Lightcone and you did end up getting an S5 of this, and even if you don't have an S5, it's still an option you can use, but it's very easy to get S5. I definitely recommend to use when you have S5. So while you're working to gain the signature, or if you're not summoning for the signature, you can opt to use an instance. Another solid option is the Battle Pass Lightcone, which provides a 12% increase to crit rate, and when the wearer's Memo Sprite is on the field, increases damage dealt by the wearer and their Memo Sprite by 24%. This is only possible to have S1 right now, and at S1 it can technically be beat up by the 3-star Lightcone, which is very funny to think about, but it's actually possible. But once you do get more refines on this, it's definitely going to be your second best until a different Remembrance Lightcone is added, and once it is possible to get S5, it goes up to 20% of a crit rate increase at 36% damage dealt. Crit rate is super important on Aglaea, because you are most likely sacrificing a lot of speed in order to gain the high thresholds you do want to hit, assuming you are building a fast Aglaea. And even if you're not, more crit rate is always going to be beneficial. You want to get as close to 100 as possible without sacrificing too much other stats. And fast Aglaea or not, you want to reach to 80% crit rate, because often you will be pairing with Sunday, which provides you an extra 20%, but at base you still want to have nearly as much as 80%, as close as possible at least. And on top of that, it's really easy. You just get a free 24% damage dealt, and then it will become higher with each super imposition you do. So this is another great option if you are someone that purchases the Battle Pass. When the next Battle Pass comes out, you can pick it again and just constantly refine it until it is usable. So in those cases, and even at S1, this is a good option you can use. Another pretty solid option is the new Genius's Greetings Lightcone, which provides a 16% increase in attack, and after the wearer uses ultimate, increases basic attack damage dealt by the wearer and their Memo Sprite by 20% for 3 turns. And it is new, so I doubt most people have it S5, but at S5 is 32% attack, and also the damage dealt for the basic attack goes 40%. Why is this not better than others, you may ask? It's because it does have a turn limit. Aglaea is going to take a bunch of turns on her own, and on top of that, you always pair her with another action forward giving character, sometimes even 2. So it's going to be super easy to expire the actual Lightcone effect, and it just becomes a 32% attack increase, at least until you ult again. You ult, it's already your turn, as it does give you another thing you can use, and then you constantly have a bunch of speed, and you have people action advancing you, and it's just so easy to expire the 3 turns, which is the one problem of this Lightcone. It's still a good Lightcone, but it's a lot weaker than the others, as the others practically give you a permanent boost as long as you fulfill the conditions. But with this one, it is still turn-based, so unfortunately it does lose its value. Still a good option you can use. Or the best relic sets for Aglaea, the best one is going to be the 4-beast Hero of the Triumphant Song, with the 2-beast providing a 12% increase in attack, and the 4-beast, while the wearer's Memo Sprite is on the field, increases the wearer's speed by 6%. When the wearer's Memo Sprite attacks, increases the wearer's and Memo Sprite's crit damage by 30% for 2 turns. So the 2-beast providing 12% attack is nice, as she mainly does scale off attack, so more attack will be more damage, and the 4-beast also provides you 6% speed, which is going to be super good for fast Aglaea builds, and the Memo Sprite is going to be attacking a lot, so you practically always will have 30% crit damage up. That will constantly be refreshing. So this practically becomes a free 6% speed and a free 30% crit damage throughout the entire battle. Even if you are doing a slow Aglaea, this is still going to be beneficial, as 30% crit damage is great because, as I mentioned previously in the video, you're going to sacrifice crit damage rolls for some other stuff. Even if you're doing a slow Aglaea, will be less for a slow Aglaea, but you obviously want to prioritize getting crit rate as high as possible, so your crit damage will obviously be lower. So it's still nonetheless a free crit damage buff, making this her best in slow option. Another good option is 4-piece Musketeers, which provides the same 2-piece with a 12% attack increase, and the 4-piece, the wearer speed increases by 6%, and damage dealt by the basic attack increases by 10%. So again, 12% attack is nice, 6% speed as well here, and a 10% basic attack damage dealt, which is again her main multiplier and her main source of damage, so this is going to be buffing that, making this 4-piece another good option you can use. Past that, it is going to be combining 2-piece, so you can do 2-piece speed sets, so again, 2-piece Relieved Ordeal, or you can also do 2-piece Hackerspace, or you can combine with 2-piece one of the speed ones and do 2-piece Scholar set, which provides 8% crit rate, and this is going to be great because again, you want to get as much crit rate as possible. So the 8% crit rate for the 2-piece is great. You can also do 2-piece speed if you are building a fast Aglaea. 2-piece speed is going to help you tremendously while you are building her. Or you can do 2-piece of one of the ones mentioned and do 2-piece of an attack percent increasing set, so Hero Song. Poet has the same 2-piece as well, Musketeers, the Dot set, Wind Soaring set, anything that does a 2-piece attack, you combine the 2-piece attack with the crit rate one, speed, or finally you can combine 2-piece of any of the ones mentioned and do 2-piece of the lightning set for the 10% lightning damage as you just deal lightning damage. But it is definitely recommended to get the Hero of Triumphant Song, as this is easily her best in slot. If not that, you can use Musketeers as the game's been out for a while and Musketeers has been a set since the game launched. It's still probably a set you might have some good pieces laying around, so you could use that. Or 2-piece speed with 2-piece Scholar set is my recommendation. Just doing a combination of one of the three, so 2-piece speed is great, 2-piece crit rate is fantastic, at least until you get the 4-piece of the hero set. But then again, you can do 2-piece speed or 2-piece of any attack percent increasing sets or the lightning set, whatever you do have until you have 4-piece of the song set. For the best Planar ornaments, the best one is going to be the Abandoned Amusement set, which provides 16% crit damage when a target summoned by the wearers on the field, in this case would be the Memo Sprite. Crit damage additionally increases by 32%. As you do summon the Memo Sprite on the field, you get an additional 32% increase in crit damage, so you have up to a 48% increase in crit damage, which is fantastic. It's such a big increase, which will also allow you to safely allocate to other stats, as this will provide you a lot, removing the need to get almost any crit damage rolls. Obviously, getting more crit damage rolls is going to be beneficial, but prioritizing speed if you're doing fast Aglaea, which is going to be the most common, and also getting high crit rate, this is going to help you get a lot more allocation towards that, as this is providing you a massive increase in crit damage, making this her best in slot option. Another really good option is the Rule in Arena set, which provides 8% crit rate once you have 70% or higher crit rate. Damage dealt by basic attack and skill increases by 20%. So 8% crit rate is nice, 70% or higher. Even if you are using with Sunday or not using with Sunday, you definitely want to aim for having higher than that. So assuming this condition is fulfilled, you get the damage buff to your main damage source, being the basic attack or enhanced basic attack in this case. Skill damage is useless as her skill does not do damage, but once again, her basic attack is going to be the main source of damage, so getting a damage buff for that is going to be nice, making this her other best option you can use. Another really good option is the Glamout set, which provides 12% attack, and once the wearer speed is equal to or higher than 135/160, where it deals 12%/18% more damage. Aglaea is easily going to be able to have over 160. If you're doing fast Aglaea, you have over 160 at base, and even if you are doing slow Aglaea, once you are in the ultimate, you'll have over 160 easily, and by a good amount at that, so practically always becomes a 18% increase to damage, so that's going to be fantastic. So a great increase to damage you can have. Now I'm going to have a big if on this one. If you are using Aglaea with Remembrance Trailblazer, which is actually a pretty damn good comp, in that case you can also use Izumo. It's going to be weaker, but it's still a good option you can use, as it does give you 12% crit rate. So gains also 12% attack, and when entering field, if there's one ally that follows the same path as the wearer gains a 12% increase in crit rate. As the only other Remembrance character right now is Remembrance Trailblazer, and the only character that's going to be Remembrance that's going to have synergy for her from the near future, from what it does seem, is mainly just going to be Remembrance Trailblazer. Thankfully, Remembrance Trailblazer has fantastic synergy with Aglaea, so if you are running a team comp with those two, then you can use Izumo. Again, it's better to just run something like the Bandit Amusement or even Brutal in Arena or Glamout, as it's just going to be better, as you can just opt to not run this if you do have good crit rate rolls. But if your crit rate rolls are lacking and Izumo helps you a lot with that, and you are doing Remembrance Trailblazer with Aglaea, then this is a good option you can use. And then finally, another option you can use until you farm a better set is everyone's favorite Space Sailing Station. 12% attack once you have 120 speed or higher, which is a joke with Aglaea. You get an additional 12% attack, so 24% attack. Not that good, but it's still a good option you can use as a filler, at least until you get any of the other sets that I didn't mention. So you can use this as a slot in until you immediately get another set. When you get another set, then you want to change this to that. But again, in the meantime, it's a okay option you can use. For the main stats on the Relics, for the body, you want to have crit rate primarily, as she will want a lot of crit rate. If you are running her with Sunday, you want to aim to get 75 to 80. Closer to 80 will be great, because with Sunday buff, you'll practically have 100%. If you are not running her with Sunday, you want to have 85 to 100%. Primarily, roughly around the 90s is going to be ideal, as you just want to have a lot of crit rate. She has a lot more sources to crit damage as opposed to another character in the game, but she doesn't have too many sources to crit rate, so building a lot more crit rate is going to be ideal. But if you just happen happen to have really good crit rate rolls, then you can opt to use a crit damage body. For the feat, if you are doing a fast Aglaea where you try to build her as fast as possible, then obviously you want to have speed boots. But if you are doing a base speed slow Aglaea, which is pretty much building your Sunday or your action forward giving character, which in this case primarily Sunday as that is her best partner, over 160 speed, and you build Aglaea with base speed, and even in her ult she's going to reach all the way up to 190 speed, a little higher than that even. This playstyle will always want you to have the Aglaea ult up, so you have to definitely pay attention to that, as if you don't have the ult up, she will be at base speed. You have a very slow Aglaea, which is going to be really bad. But again, if you have that started out and you have a fast 160 plus speed Sunday, then you can opt to do the base speed Aglaea. For the orb, you want to have lightning damage, and for the link rope, you can do either attack percent or energy regeneration rate. If you do have one of our best teams, which are two characters that do provide energy, being both Sunday and also being Huohuo, if you have both of them, or if you do have one and you also have Aglaea's E1, then you can opt to use attack percent because you will easily be able to have the ult uptime as much as possible, or practically always in this case. But if you are missing 2 out of the 3 requirements, so maybe you have Sunday but you don't have Huohuo, or you don't have Aglaea E1, then running energy regeneration rate is going to be an option, because you definitely do want to have ult up, because outside of her ult, she is practically useless. So the main goal is to keep her in her ultimate as much as possible. That's why Sunday plus Huohuo, both their ults giving energy, is super important, and also E1 Aglaea is super insane, as it does provide her a bunch of energy as well. And if you have all 3 by chance, then it's just easily no-brainer use attack percent, because you'll have more than enough energy. For the substats, first you want to prioritize speed if you are doing Aglaea's fast build. If you are doing the Aglaea fast build, you definitely want to get her up to 160 or higher, pretty much just as much as possible. Ideally, getting her 163 is going to be your goal. Past that is going to be your generic DPS roll, so crit rate, crit damage, attack percent. Primarily focusing on crit rate. Once again, if you are running her with Sunday, 75 to 80 is going to be ideal. And if you're not running Sunday, 85 to 100% is going to be your goal. Crit damage, getting it to anything above 100% is going to be fine, because if you have the other accesses, such as our Lightcone gives crit damage, Sunday gives crit damage, Robin gives a very little bit of crit damage, the hero set gives crit damage, the banana and amusement set gives crit damage. There's a lot of sources to get crit damage with, so you don't have to be like, oh, my character doesn't have over 180% crit damage. That's completely fine. Just having 100% is going to be fine, because you get 48% from the banana and amusement set, 30% from the hero set, Sunday's buff, and so on. So don't worry about getting a little over 100%. That's going to be great. You practically just want to prioritize having 80% crit rate with Sunday and 85 to 100% without Sunday. And then finally, once again, as I mentioned, attack percent is still going to be beneficial, so getting attack percent rolls on your relics is going to be really good. So once again, you don't have to worry about speed if you're doing a base Aglaea speed build, but if you are doing fast Aglaea, which is going to be the most common one, getting to 163 before battle is ideal. Past that, more crit rate. Once again, already have mentioned how much you want so many times. More crit damage is obviously welcomed, and then more attack percent is also welcomed. Now for some team idea / team options for Aglaea. Pretend Acheron over here is Aglaea. The best team you can actually use for Aglaea is going to be Aglaea herself, obviously. And then running Sunday, as Sunday is her best partner. The next thought will be Robin, as Robin is very broken for Aglaea as well. And then the sustain, the absolute best sustain you can use is Huohuo. This is going to be the absolute best team for Aglaea. Once again, pretend Acheron here is Aglaea. But there definitely are substances you can do, such as subbing out Robin. You can just easily sub out Robin for the Remembrance Wizard. That's completely fine. It's a very big drop off if you do not have Sunday, but some people will not have Sunday, so you can also just opt to use Bronya. Bronya is really good with Aglaea too, thanks to the fact Aglaea is not skill point hungry, so Bronya can consume the skill points you have in her stead, and they work really well together. But again, having Sunday is very ideal. It's a big increase having Sunday as opposed to not, so ideally you always want to have Sunday with Aglaea. And as for the sustain, as Huohuo is the best, it's still fine if you do not have Huohuo. You can also use Aventurine. He's completely fine. And what's really good about Aventurine is he's also able to shield the Memo Sprite, so Aventurine can have his sub-DPS capabilities increased as he is able to gain more stacks. Only thing you want to be cautious about is Aglaea getting a bunch of turns and expiring Aventurine shield, but even without Aventurine, you can still use someone like Feixiao. Feixiao's completely fine. Same thing does apply to Gallagher. Gallagher's fine as well. Pretty much just whatever sustain you have is best on top of that. So again, the better the sustain in the meta, the better they'll be with Aglaea, obviously. Huohuo is going to be ideal as their attack percent buff and especially energy buff is great. But again, Aventurine works fine. You could also, again, just use Feixiao. That's completely fine. You can use Gallagher. You can use Fushuan for the crit rate is also fine, as her crit rate buff is going to be really welcome. You can also, again, just use someone like Luocha as well, because it's healing up. It's great. And since Aglaea attacks so much, the heal will practically always be up, and you're just going to heal your team a bunch. So again, just work with whatever sustain you do have in that slot. Yep, that is the full guide for Aglaea. If you guys found the video helpful, dropping a like once again would be greatly appreciated. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell for future videos like this along with all the types of star content. Once again, hope you found the video helpful. Peace out.